Hi, my name is Lesego. I am an astrologer, tarot reader, and creative crescent sun. And today we are going to be speaking about the Astrology of Charlie Sheen's documentary. So a bit of a background. I think it was about 2 weeks from me, filming this specifically, but it was released that Charlie Sheen is going to have a documentary called AKA Charlie Sheen, and there's various people who are going to appear on the documentary, right? So my thought process, as always, is do we have verified birth chart data? And if so, is there something more going on within his cycles? Why now? Why couldn't this have happened, previously? And I think it was mentioned in the trailer that he's finally sober, so he wants to get the truth out. But there is more to it, and that is what we are going to look into today. So I'm just going to go to the chart. Ooh. It's me. And now it's the chart in a while. There's the chart. So obviously verified birth chart data. And what I am going to start with, right, before I kind of like indicate where you're supposed to look, is if you know anything about the transiting nodes, right? If you look at your own personal birth chart, right? If you look at after the nodes are done transiting within those houses, whatever has been happening, it just doesn't look the same as when the nodes started their transit within those houses. So obviously, because the nodes operate on an axis, we're going to see in Charlie's case, the north node is in his 11th house, the south node is in his 5th house. But those specific areas, it doesn't look the same. The people that he interacts with, for example, when it comes to his 11th house friends, acquaintances, probably looks a lot different from when this aspect or transit started. And he can even go back to previously when the North Node and South Node were in Pisces and Virgo, respectively. There's a lot of change that happens, and it's sort of distant, it's faded. And obviously, there is an aspect of free will involved, but I think it's very interesting to see the clearing out that happens within those two houses. That's kind of like what I've seen. It's like, it's not what I thought I wanted, but maybe it's what I needed. And if you have any planets that are being aspected during that time, that is what is highlighted. So in Charlie's case, we are having the transiting North Node conjunct his Saturn, right, at 14 degrees of Pisces. Now, why this is interesting to note, right, is Saturn is the traditional ruler of his midheaven, right, his MC at 8 degrees of Aquarius there. And for me, it's kind of this distant pull for him to take responsibility, to take ownership based on how his career turned out, because it was his own actions that kind of like led him to where he is. And obviously, other things that we do not know at the end of the day. I do not know him personally. We do not know him personally. So we can't strictly say it was this. But we also know when it comes to his career, I'm not gonna like highlight it, but Saturn is being aspected by Uranus, it's being aspected by Pluto, it's being aspected by Neptune. So there is a very complex flavor when it comes to his career, sudden ups and downs, sudden breakdowns, but also there's a sense of support. And he was at some point like at the height of his career, and then there was that sudden downfall, that sudden breakdown, all due to his own actions. And it's kind of like this push and pull that he needs to learn to navigate. So the transiting North Node conjunct his Saturn is highlighting that this is destined, it's fated for him to take responsibility right now. And obviously he was within his Saturn return in 2024, but now it's like, what has that led up to? Where are we going after this. And that's kind of how I'm seeing this energy manifest, right? So as I said, it does operate, when I say it's, the nodes operates on an axis. And what I thought was important to note was that at the time of the documentary being released, right? So the documentary is being released on the 10th of September. And obviously, he is a sun in Virgo. So his birthday was actually on the 3rd of September. But the South Node is conjunct Pluto and Uranus because it's in his 5th house. So for me, again, Uranus is the modern ruler of his MC. So there is that suddenness to want to be seen within his career, within the public eye. But it's kind of like releasing because he's no longer, he's giving everyone the full story, the full details. He isn't the person that he was. And he wants to show people that aspect within himself, right? So another thing to note, right, is the eclipse on the 7th of September at 15 degrees of Pisces is conjunct his Saturn. So again, I have spoken about this lunar eclipse, but there is that sense of fulfillment, completion. This is where he is currently within his career. He's taking ownership. And at this moment in time, we don't know how his future is, but at this moment in time, this is his peak. Giving the public the full story is his peak. And he is looking at the picture of his career and his life that he has created, and he is sitting in it. That is what I mentioned in the lunar eclipse video, but I'm seeing that manifest within, the timing, because the documentary is being released 3 days after the lunar eclipse in Pisces. Now, one thing I also want to add, right, is he's currently going through solar arc, north node, or node, if you want to say that, equals the MC. So he is really being driven to be in the public eye. This is probably something he may or may not understand, but it's destined, it's fated, and he's leaning into it by taking the responsibility and ownership for the role that he's played, which is very Saturnian in my opinion. So if you watch the documentary, please tell me how it is, because obviously I haven't seen it as of yet. But if you like this video, thank you for staying up until this point. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think? What didn't I add? What do you have to say? And don't forget to like and subscribe.